a really important point there, which is around uh, if you're limited in capacity, trying to find relationships with humanitarian organizations that have bigger resources and networks, and piggybacking your message or your delivery off of that. I can certainly recall work that I did in Mongolia with team members where we used the logistics of the Red Cross and their vehicles to get our aid out at the same time because it was perceived to be complementary. So I think, excuse me, that's a very important point. Next question, which I think is probably the one that keeps a lot of the participants on the call awake at night. It relates to, I recall very vividly in examples that have already been given, including in Cuba and others, seeing the challenges that local humane groups have to operate under normal conditions and then under emergency conditions as well. And when we think about the stories that came out of Ukraine in the first year of animal shelters literally on the front line, trying to manage with shelters that had been shelled, that were only partially operational, there's a reality there, and it's a tough reality. And so I'm interested in what the simple things that shelters and humane groups in a particular geography can do to make themselves more resilient, better prepared, and able to deal with the additional pressures and impacts of emergencies. And I'll go to Gerardo first.
I guess the first thing we need to do, or shelters need to do, is exactly what we're doing here, is networking. They need to network with civil defense, their civil defense. Those people are experts, and they can have excellent advice. They need to network with local media. And if you're hoping for funds, emergency funds coming from outside, be it from other organizations, large SPCAs, or even international funds after a disaster, you need to prove your worth. And I guess it's important to have manpower. And most shelters, because I actually had a shelter, built a shelter myself and run it for a decade, most shelters are short on manpower because they're always busy. They don't have time to actually go out and look for more volunteers. But I think getting a list of volunteers that may be available during special needs, it's vital. If you have volunteers that are prepared, or at least understand what is going to be their job, it's easier to access funds because you can prove you can use them. And other than that, make a plan. A bad plan is better than no plan. And if you don't have an evacuation plan, for example, if you have a shelter with dogs and cats, like mine, I had about 70 dogs and 30 cats, and I needed to be able to evacuate quickly because my country, for example, is very prone to floods and volcano eruptions. We have more volcanoes than parking space here in this country. So it's important that we're ready to leave at short notice. And for that, you need a few things. I'm not going to go over the list of logistics you need because you know them. You just need to put them in writing and share it with everybody else. Do not assume that everybody knows what to do. And like I said, a bad plan or a lousy plan is better than no plan.
Fantastic, thanks. And